Hey, what's up, everybody? You already know who it is. Today I'm going to bring you a review of SH Figuarts Night Rogue from Kamen Rider Build. So, let's get started. First and foremost, he starts as one of the main not protagonists, but main antagonists from the show Kamen Rider Build. And if you're watching the show by the time you watch this, you know what's going on. But let's not spoil it for those who haven't watched yet. Overall, this design is pretty dope. It's seen for the first, I guess, like 20 or so episodes. And I'm really loving the way it looks, the way it feels, things that are going on with it. It's a nice bat motif, and they even reference it in the show. Like, this guy has like the bat motif. Oh, excuse me. But it's really dope when you get to see villains come to life, because a lot of the time Bandai likes to skip out on doing the bad guys or the kaijin or the kaiju, depending on whatever's going on. But it was really cool to get him, and even better, more so that he was a normal release. So I'm really excited for him. Anyway, let's get into articulation. We're going to start from head to toe and go down. So head articulation, it goes up. It can circle left and right. And even though the pipeline is here, the neck extends actually pretty well, to the point where none of this actually gets in the way, to the point where you can even rotate him 360 degrees. Not even the collar gets in the way. And I like that a lot. So he can be really expressive if you he can be really expressive if you want him to. Expressive. Ooh, what is going on with me? I'm a little rusty, I guess, since it's been a while. But yeah. So the head is really cool. None of the neck parts actually get in the way of it. The only issue that I'm having so far is that my left shoulder is actually a little wobbly. It doesn't stay in place all that well, even now, as it comes off really easily. But that could be me, and pretty sure some lemon pledge will fix that up. So as far as arm articulation though, the shoulders actually pop out, that allow you to get the most amount of articulation that you would want to get out of the figure. We can go up and down. And like I said before, the piping actually doesn't get in the way. So there's also bicep swivel. Arms are indeed double jointed, so it actually folds up really well. The hands swivel around. It's on a nice ball joint. But the problem is the way his cuff design is. Focus there. The way his cuff design is that it doesn't allow for the hand to have a lot of movement. So you have to be really expressive with your arm and bicep swivel, because there's not a lot of hand movement. So what I recommend you do, if you really are irritated by it, you can shave it down. But it's actually pretty accurate to the suit design from what I'm seeing. So it's one of those things where they made it a little too accurate. So maybe it's just the motif. Also, don't forget that you can actually pull the arm out to extend and allow more joint rotation and movement. Now, as far as ab crunch goes, he actually has a pretty good forward ab crunch for a guy who wasn't expecting to have any. Really good back ab crunch, and it rotates at the upper and lower torso. So you can actually, like I said, get really expressive with him, to the point where it's kind of like, what are you doing? You know, you can take really weird poses and stances. So let's just do a really quick one. Like I said, he has the bat motif. So even now, like, really expressive and really nice, he can just get that kind of pose going. And I really like that, because right out the box, you can just get really cool poses with him, or really cool like scenes, and you'll see why in a second. Now, as you can see, the leg uses the old method, just like Kamen Rider Build. It uses the old SHF method with a little bit of the old and new, where you can use the drop down method, plus you have thigh rotating swivel. Legs are double jointed, which is always a plus in my book. So like I said, it allows you to be really expressive with him. There's lots of ankle pivot, and as you can see, they widened it out enough so that way you wouldn't lose out on ankle pivot. So you can jump up really high with him, you know, be jumping down, getting away. You can actually do it all. So even if you want to do his version of a rider kick, it is easily possible. So I'm a big fan of that. So let's put him in a cool pose as we talk about the thing. Oh, by the way, toe pivot. It's there. Let's put him in a cool pose as we talk about the items, accessories that he comes with, and things like that. So let's get him there. All right. He's in a cool pose. The first thing I want to talk about are the hands, and we're going to go into that, what he comes with after. These are hands for holding his steam blade, the steam gun, and the steam gun and rifle mode. These are dedicated hands to it, and it doesn't look like much, but it actually holds them really well. Here are open claw hands for attacking, looking cool, doing really cool poses, or just scratching your opponent like a cat. And these are more relaxed hands. So when he's walking, posing, being intimidating, things like that. Ooh, excuse me. Now, real quick, I want to start off by saying I started with the steam gun in rifle mode. And the reason why is because it even comes packaged like this, so it's easier to show people what it starts with. So you can actually take out the bottle. Oop. And just like before, somebody actually corrected me. They messaged me on Instagram about the bottles actually connecting to build because they can. I just couldn't do it, but someone told me that you actually have to place it, like snap it in, as opposed to actually trying to slide it in. So as you can see there, it just did it. So you can actually take the bottle in and out. Then next up, you can actually just pull it apart, wiggle it a little, I would suggest. You can have the steam blade normal, and what you do is you take off the back part, connect it to the steam blade. Voila, now you have your steam blade game going. Use the dedicated hand for it, slide the joint in. Voila. The wheel actually turns as well, so that's actually pretty cool. So you can actually have the steam blade, steam blading. Then there's also the steam gun in its normal form, which is pretty cool. And as you saw, it can easily take rifle mode. So it's one of those things where you have a 3-for-1, and I like that a lot. It functions like it does in the show. So it's not one of those things where you're like, oh, it doesn't do that. You still have the part swap, but that's actually part of the motif of it in the show. You're part swapping. So it's really cool to have a thing like that. Real quick, I'm going to put him back in a upward vanilla stance. So that way, we can compare him size-wise to other characters and other lines. Real quick, though, one I'm going to start out with is his counterpart in show. It's Kamen Rider build. So we have Night Rogue, and let's compare him to Kamen Rider build. So real quick, they start out about the same height. Night Rogue seems to be a little taller, considering he has a little horn at the top of his head. So it makes him a little itty-bitty taller. Next up, we're going to compare him to another SHF, which is Kamen Rider X-Aid, level 2 form. So, voila. All in good height. These guys seem to be a little taller. Maybe just a tad bit. Next up, we're going to compare him to an SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Amazing Mighty Kuga, the renewal version. And Kuga seems to be a lot smaller in terms of scale. So these guys tend to, scale a little bigger. But it also could be because I didn't put his joints all the way down. So take that with a grain of salt. Next up, we're going to compare him to a 1000 Toy Synthetic Human. And these guys are like a 1/12 scale. Maybe a true 1/12 scale, I should say. And not a 6-inch line, so that makes a difference. These guys actually scale really well. Then we're going to compare him to a 1/12 scale of American kind, which is Mezco for American superheroes. Then we have Black Adam, who towers over these guys easily. Pretty much towers over them. Then we're going to compare him to a Marvel Legend. It's Marvel Legends Ant-Man, who may or may not, be around the same size as them. He actually looks real good next to them. So just to be on the safe side, let's compare him to another Marvel Legend, which is Blade. And as you can see, he's actually bigger. So Ant-Man might be a little bit more smaller, just to be on the safe side. What else is there? I think that's about it. I think I've compared it to just about everything I can see right in front of me. But overall, I like this height. Not too big, not too small. It's actually right around the scale that I enjoy. So if your preference is more of the American stuff and you're leaning towards that, he might be a little too small for you. But if you want a cool villain that can work in forced perspective shots, it's really going to work out just fine for you. Or if you're just a fan of Kamen Rider. Either way, I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you found it informative. In the meantime, guys, do good, be good, drink your water. Later.